Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're moving past vocabulary and into a much quieter space. We're looking at how to weaponize silence.
Exactly. Not just silence as an absence of noise, but what we're calling strategic silence.
So a proactive tool?
It's a proactive tool for things like power negotiation, for identity construction. It's completely different from, say, defensive silence, which is more of a retreat.
And our mission today is to really dig into how a strategic operator can dominate a conversation, not by talking more, but by outweighting their opponent.
Using some very specific science-backed tactics.
Okay, so let's get right into the mechanism. What is actually happening in someone's brain when you deploy this kind of deliberate silence?
Well, the brain is, at its core, a prediction machine. It expects a certain cadence in conversation, a rhythm.
Back and forth.
Right. And when you suddenly stop, that silence is a profound violation of expectation. It triggers an immediate cognitive alert.
You mean it creates cognitive dissonance?
A huge amount. And that gap, that discomfort, it signals a psychological breach, which then triggers the amygdala's anxiety response.
So for someone who isn't trained for that pressure, that void, it's just unbearable.
They have to fill it. They start oversharing, revealing weaknesses, or they'll even offer unprompted concessions just to make the pressure stop. They start negotiating against themselves.
So if silence is a neurological vulnerability, then who gets the right to use it? Let's talk about status.
This is fascinating. In a brand new group, you often see the Babel hypothesis in action.
The person who talks the most is seen as the leader.
For a while, yeah, regardless of the quality of what they're saying. But once a hierarchy is set, the dynamic completely flips.
And that's where status characteristics theory comes in.
Exactly. The ability to use silence comfortably becomes a privilege of rank. A high-status person shows power through restraint.
Through a comfortable delay.
Yes. They signal that their internal timeline is more important than any social pressure. You wait for them, they don't wait for you.
Okay, so if the theory is solid, let's get tactical. Let's start with the 7-second rule.
The 7-second rule is maybe the ultimate test of this. The rule is, after you ask a very tough question, or, more importantly, after you state your price, your anchor,
you go silent.
You wait a minimum of 7 seconds. And that feels like an absolute eternity. The person who breaks that silence first,
They lose.
They lose. They'll often immediately offer a concession just to end that psychological pressure.
You can even see this built into corporate structures. I'm thinking of Jeff Bezos at Amazon.
The silent meeting protocol. It's a brilliant structural use of this. He made it standard to start high-level meetings with 20, sometimes 30 minutes of silent reading.
Of a 6-page memo.
Right. And the goal was to force slow thinking, to get that rational, analytical part of the brain, what scientists call System 2, fully engaged before anyone says a word.
So it's about prioritizing data over, whoever has the most verbal charisma.
It completely levels the playing field.
But, and this is a really important caveat, this playbook isn't universal. You can't just deploy this anywhere in the world and expect it to work.
No, not at all. This is where cultural calibration is absolutely essential.
The difference between high context and low context cultures.
Precisely. In high context cultures like Japan or China, a long silence can signal respect, deep consideration, even agreement.
It's a positive signal.
It can be. But in low context cultures, like the US or Germany, that same pause is often read as a failure of communication.
Or a lack of knowledge or just awkwardness.
And that's exactly why the negotiation trick works so well here. But you misinterpret that context and your power move suddenly just signals incompetence.
So when we wrap all this up, what's the takeaway for you, the listener?
It's that dominance isn't measured by word count. It's measured by the weight of the words you do speak. And maybe more importantly, the depth of the silence that surrounds them.
That's a great way to put it. Let's end on a provocative thought then. Something about controlling your own response.
I think that's the real key. The ability to endure that awkward silence is a sign of very high executive control. And you can even think about the physiology of it.
The vagus nerve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you can master the vagus nerve, that highway between your brain and your gut, you can regulate your own anxiety. You can use something as simple as the 4-7-8 breathing technique to literally slow your heart rate, to calm your internal panic.
And in doing that, you can outweight your opponent's nervous system.
You ensure their biological timer expires before yours does. That's the ultimate control.